To set up your non-contract managed orders, you're going to go to Company and then Settings. And then from here, you'll click on Accounting, AR, Sales Orders, and then we're going to want to go to the sales order types. There may be some default sales order types in here that you can use or edit as needed, but for our purposes, let's go ahead and create a new one. Now we're going to give it an order type name. Since these are going to be non-contract managed orders, I'm going to just name them standard order. So let's just put standard. Now choosing if this is the default or not will determine if when you create a new order in your system, will it automatically set the type to this, or do you want it to be blank so they have to select which type they are trying to make an order for? Payment terms, you can create payment terms by using the quick add, or select ones that's already been added into your system right here. For this standard order, let's say it's going to be net 30. And then you want to choose your invoice format. Now there is a default invoice format in the system, but if you do want to edit your invoice format, you can go to Accounting, AR, Invoices, and Invoice Formats right here. But for our purposes, let's use the default option. The order creation status is available for standard orders, so you can decide when the order is first created, what status should it be going into? Should it be quoted first and then moved to approved and in progress, or is it okay just to be approved right off the bat? For our purposes, I'm going to say at first when I create an order, it should be quoted so I can review it with the customers and then put it into an approved status. Now you have some display fields here that you can choose to add. Do you want to type in an order name? By having the order name displayed, it will be a required field. Do you want to specify a target date, and do you want that target date to be required? So a target date will let you indicate to anyone looking at the order when everyone is expecting this order to be completed. Do you want to add a customer contact to your order? So you can specify at the customer which is the exact contact you are working on this order with. And then if you want to associate the order to a project, so you can then associate it to the project and run your project profitability at a later date. Now you do have some additional options here for advanced features. So let's go ahead and check that off and take a look. Now, do you want to indicate this order type is used for time and expenses? So that means when you go to create an order and you select an item, then it's going to be marked as billable by default. Do you want to collect feedback after the order has been marked completed? Checking this off is actually going to open up an option for you to add content and select the type of feedback you wish to add. And then do you want to display the fulfill by date on line items so you can say for each line item when you expect that item to be fulfilled? So since this is just going to be a standard order, I'm not going to turn on any of the advanced features, and let's leave it as a more standard simple order. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save. After I save, I do have an additional tab up here for custom fields. Custom fields is going to allow you to track any additional information about the order that you would like to capture. Let's go ahead and add one. Maybe with my company, I have a support package that customers can purchase, and that can maybe determine how I handle certain orders. So maybe I want that included on the order itself. So for this, I'm going to go ahead and make it a yes/no type field, and I can choose to change the display setting or just leave it as the default. Now, if I want this visible to the customer as well on the partner portal, I can check this off so they can see it too. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save and close so my custom field has been created. Let's go back to basic info, and then I'm going to hit save and close just so we make sure all our changes have taken effect with our new order type. So now to create a new order, there's a few different ways you can do this. I can go to Customers, and then Orders, and then add a new order right from here. I can also use the quick add right here to create a new sales order. So let's go ahead and choose the one we created, which was called just standard. Go ahead and choose my customer. The bill to and ship to will populate automatically if you have that set. You can replace or edit the address or add a new one for the customer right from here as well. If you have tracking information you would like to track with your order, you can click this link to add that information in as well. Since I only have one contact under Betty's Bakery, it went ahead and added her in here, but I can specify if there's multiple contacts which one is related to this order. I can also choose to associate it with a project. Since I'm the one creating this order, it put me as the sales rep automatically. As you can see, I required my target date, so it's going to make sure I have to add one in. Let's say I'm expecting this to be completed by October 31st. Over on the other side of the screen, we have the order information such as the order date, the order number, which will just self-populate to the next number, the order name, since we had turned on, it is required, and then you can add a customer PO number. If invoices that are generated from the sales order should be sent to the print queue, you should check off to be printed here. As you can see, the payment terms went to net 30 automatically because that's the default I had set at my type. Now it's important to note, if Betty has a different payment term set at her customer level, that will override the sales order type net payment terms. And then from here I have customer notes and internal notes. So customer notes will be visible to the customer if they sign into the portal, and I can switch between an advanced editor and a simple editor to put in my notes as needed. The same can be said for internal notes, but internal notes will not be visible to the customer at all and only will be seen by people logging in to your system. Our next section down here is all about what items we are selling the customer. You can add a description, change the quantity, add the unit price. If there's any shipping and handling you'd like to track, you can do so in this column. Mark if it's taxable or not. And then if you have classes turned on, you can indicate the class for each item or for the transaction or the order. As you can see, my custom field is right here that I included. So let's go ahead and check that off. Now let me just review to make sure my order is ready. And once I have it confirmed, I can go create order. Now you can see it put it into a quoted status automatically because that's what I set for my standard default status. Now that I have my order saved, I have some additional tabs up here that I can use, such as collaboration, so I can add in any content I'd like, and you can see any surveys, quizzes, assessments, and forms that's related to the order will display here. We can add in assignments for the order itself too, so if there's multiple people working on it, the assignments will list out who's doing what. Let's go ahead and add an assignment to our order. Maybe we want to indicate who the sales rep is. You can indicate if this is the primary for the order, and if you want this assignment visible on the portals, so the customer can see who is working on this order for them. Now you see they have the options to save and close, but you can also save and add new, so you can add multiple assignments at once. Maybe we want to indicate also who the collection rep is. So let's do that. And maybe we also want that visible in the portal so our customer knows who to reach out to with questions about past due payments. And then you can go ahead and do save and close when you're ready. Now you can see the assignments for the order are listed here accordingly. The next tab has to do with task. Now with task, I can easily add a task or a to-do that has to be done for this order and have it associated with the order accordingly. Since I added it from under the order, it's going to put that order in the spot automatically for me. Our next tab has to do with POs. So if we have any purchases we want to relate to this order, I can do so right from the PO tab. You would simply add purchase order, since I'm creating this purchase order from the order, it automatically put the items in there for me. So all I need to do is say, create PO. Now my PO has been created. If I want to get back to my order, I can easily do so by using the Related To tab to go back to my order. If I click back on the PO tab, I can see that PO is now listed within the POs for this order. Now, since this is a non-contract managed order, what I can do is change these statuses as needed. All I need to do is choose what status I would like this order to be moved to, and then hit save. Since it's a non-contract managed order, there's no external approval that needs to be done by the customer. The order can be edited as needed. Back on our order info page, we do have some additional options up here as well. We already went over these tabs, but what about these sub-tabs under info? So you see you have an action menu right here, so you can copy the order, create an opportunity from the order, create a purchase order from the order, which will then be listed in the POs list, create a project, create a task, which will then be listed in the task tab, or invoice this order. You can also choose to print the order, send an email from this order to a contact, add any attachments. If there's been any reference materials added for the items, they can be displayed here. Your auto log is going to show any changes that have taken place with the order and when and who made those changes. Your notes log can be very useful to keep track of every step that's taking place with the order. Notice that when I add a note, it puts who entered the note and the date and the time. I can send a message from this order to the contact. The share button is going to give me the direct link so I can send this to any internal employees if I want to reference this order. And then the Related To tab is going to show me all my related transactions or purchase orders that go along with this order. As you can see, there's a lot of information you can store with your non-contract managed sales orders in Striven.